In this lesson, we're going to take a look at some basics of graphing what we call quadratic equations. And that's a big word, and all it really means is this is the biggest exponent that we have, an x squared. Okay, when we have a squared, and that's the biggest exponent we have in the entire function, then we call it a quadratic. And all that means to us is we can look at this first term, the one that has the x squared on it, and it has a positive 1. And if it has any positive number in front of it, we know it's a parabola that happens to open up. And what we're going to look for is that bottom spot. We call that the vertex. And as we get into graphing some of these things, it's really important we can find that location. Okay, we know what shape it has. We need to know where that's located. Okay, like this. We need to know its x and y coordinates. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video, how to find those coordinates. And it's the same way every time. Sure, there's some shortcuts, but most of the time this is the process you'll take. Let's go ahead and do it in orange and blue since I'm feeling like supporting my Boise State Broncos today. Let's see. We'll start with x coordinate. Now, if I need to find my x coordinate of that vertex, there's a formula for it. Negative b divided by 2a. And when I say b and a, what I really mean is here's my a, here's my b, and here's my c. Not with the x's, but just with those numbers, the coefficients that go with them. So if I'm looking for that x coordinate, I'm going to say, well, x equals, this says negative b, which is negative 6 in this case. Notice negative 6 is my b right there. And so I'm going to put that in, but the negative sign, the formula is always there, over 2 times a, and in this case my a is just 1. So that really gives me positive 6 over 2, which is 3. So the vertex happens to be at 3. Now that's my x coordinate. I still have to find my y coordinate. Now how do I do that? Well, my y coordinate comes straight from my function. Notice I have y equals a bunch of stuff right there. Well, let's write that stuff out. It is 1 times something squared minus 6 times something plus 5. And what goes in for that something? Well, that's actually something we already figured out. That's my x coordinate. Okay, I found x. X is 3, so I'm going to put 3 right here and 3 right here. Now I'm going to calculate what I've got. Y equals 3 squared, which is 9, minus 6 times 3, which happens to be 18, plus 5. And if I add all those up left to right, 9 minus 18 is negative 9, plus 5 gives me negative 4. So negative 4 is where I'm at. So what that means now, I found my x and my y, that's telling me a location. Okay, and that's this spot right here. This spot is at, instead of writing it like this, that spot is at 3, negative 4 on the graph. And once you find that vertex, all the rest of this it really comes from that. Okay, this is what makes it much easier than it appears to be at first. If I find that vertex, this thing right here, if I find that location, and I know that it's going to open up because of that positive number at the very beginning, then I kind of already know what it looks like. It's going to look like this. Okay, we could always find a couple of aiming points to know how wide or how narrow it is, but the basic gist of it, the basic idea is right there in front of me. So finding the vertex is pretty crucial. And that's the process you'll go through every time. First thing you want to do, use your formula to come up with your x coordinate. Then plug your x coordinate in, once you figure that number out, to the function to get the y coordinate. And we're finished.